I'm Glenn McGinnis, and this is Outburst. On the program, do you believe Canada will see a fifth wave of COVID-19?
I don't think Canada will see a fifth wave.
I don't know.
I think if we're not careful,
it's not going away anytime soon.
As this fourth wave continues to drag on, vaccination rates are still on the rise across the country. Many places in Canada are starting to open up once again, and some people are feeling more comfortable about getting on with their lives and putting COVID-19 behind them once and for all. The World Health Organization recently said that COVID-19 infections and deaths are once again on the rise globally, and that new variants will continue to pose a threat to every nation on Earth. So, could we be in for another wave of COVID-19 in the weeks and months to come? Our question: do you believe Canada will see a fifth wave of COVID-19?
Potentially, yes. I think, the way that we're going right now doesn't look that great. Whether it's a fifth wave or an extended of the fourth, I'm not quite sure, but I definitely foresee something in the future.
They'll probably see as many waves as the powers that be want to bring out to bring the will of the people down and do what they need to do.
I think so. I mean, I don't know the variant. Like, it's like anything. A flu will mutate. So I think it's not going away anytime soon.
Potentially. I guess it just depends on people taking action and getting their vaccinations, or I'm not sure. Even within people who are vaccinated, I'm sure there could be another wave. But
if another variant comes through,
yeah,
nothing would surprise me.
A fifth wave, perhaps, and it would most likely be in areas that are highly populated: Toronto, Montreal, the bigger centers, most likely.
if people don't get vaccinated and, maintain their distance and their hand washing and take precautions, yeah, we're going to. And a sixth and a seventh. It's going to keep coming until we get our acts together.
I think, unfortunately, based on what's happening, I think it's very possible. I think everybody's tired of the whole pandemic, but unfortunately there's a number of people that insist on still not being vaccinated and for no reason, and that's probably going to likely result in a fifth wave.
I don't know. It seems that, we did everything to prevent this one. We all got vaccinated, we all did it, and look where we are now. We're all on pins and needles, so I don't want to jinx anything.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way around it, but hopefully it's not a mutation that isn't covered by the vaccination. So, yeah, there'll be a fifth wave, but the height of the wave, the amplitude, no idea.
I'm hoping not, but the way it's looking, maybe. I think people are tired of it. I think a lot of people are still trying so hard to do their best. I know I am. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably.
Oh, I suspect so, yes. This is going to go on for a while. It'll eventually become an endemic, not a pandemic.
I think it will, because people aren't behaving as they should.
I don't think Canada will see a fifth wave. I think we've got things under control. I think Trudeau's done an excellent job right from the start. I don't think there's been a prime minister that has had to go through anything like this before, and I think he's handled it really well. I work in a hospital, and I see things improving all the time. People are more comfortable. They're not as. I don't see people being as fearful in the future. I think it will end.
Yeah, I think we probably will until we get, unfortunately, things calm down, enough shots for everyone. Unfortunately, I think winter is not the best time.
There's a possibility. I don't like some of the rules that got in place, like opening up the Maple Leafs to thousands of people and closing a restaurant to 50% with less people. Doesn't make sense.
Oh my God, I hope not, but I don't think so. No, I think we're controlling, so we will remain stable. There will be, I'm from Quebec, so I think we will remain around 200 and 300 people a day. And I think we can live with that because we've been to 1,000, 2,000 a day, and it's like the flu, so we will have to learn to live with it. I think so.
No, I don't think so. With all the vaccination, why would it be a fifth one? Even the first one wasn't that bad.
That's what I believe. Well, I'm not a scientist, but if you look at the rest of the world, it seems like there seems to be something's brewing, you know, and I think there was a new variant that was discovered in England a couple of weeks ago. So I'm a little worried about that. Plus, they say that the vaccine's good for 6 months until we have to. So I know mine expires in the end of December, so I'm already anxious about that.
I think if we're not careful and, you know, if people like start relaxing the whole like mask thing and, you know, and like, you know, relaxing on the whole vaccination thing, like we can't do that just because we're seeing good things happen now. Look what's happening in Saskatchewan, and they're talking about people's personal freedoms. You know, if you infect somebody with your personal freedoms, what does that say?
Probably, but it will probably be small. With all the people getting more vaccinated, it's going to change, but it takes time to make the other people to get vaccinated.
I mean, if you look at like the past trends of like the winters, like I think there's definitely going to be a rise, but with a lot of vaccination, people getting vaccinated, I think it's going to be less so. So yes, but to a lesser extent, I think.
After roughly 20 months of closure, the U.S. is now open to travelers by land who are fully vaccinated. This is great news for communities on both sides of the border who depend heavily on the traffic flow back and forth. But it seems not every Canadian feels safe about making the trip and will remain on this side of the border for the time being. So we sent our cameras out to ask you when you will feel safe about crossing over. Our question: when will you feel comfortable traveling to the U.S.?
That I don't know. I certainly don't right now, and maybe the end of next year perhaps. It's going to depend what's going on with the pandemic.
I have no interest in going there. Their policies are, as it relates to a woman's right to choose, handguns, and climate change. I'm just not on board with any of their general policies, so I won't be going.
Probably not anytime soon. Like I mean, it really just depends on how the numbers look, but I can't see it being for a while.
There's so much conflict within the United States concerning COVID vaccinations, et cetera, that I don't feel safe, et cetera. Yes, so you don't know who or if anybody is vaccinated there. At least coming here, we had to check in with the New Brunswick government and to be registered to even get into the province. Doesn't exist in the States.
You know, probably will take third booster shots and some, you know, looking to find spots that are probably not hot spots at the time, but it's probably going to take some time to develop some confidence about travel.
I have no idea. A long time probably. When we're able to walk around without masks and restrictions, I think that's when it's going to feel okay. But for right now, it's, you know, the death count is going up, and just in our province, let alone everywhere else. So
I feel comfortable now. I'm fully vaccinated, so my whole family is fully vaccinated. I have no issue with traveling to the United States at this point. So.
I have a small business. It's really hard. I have a mailbox in Maine that I have not been able to get to. I would really like to go and be able to get things to run my business a little more efficiently. It's easier to access things in the States.
Personally, I feel as comfortable, or would feel as comfortable traveling to the United States right now. However, I don't trust the authorities, so I don't want to leave the province because you might not get back in if you leave.
I do have family down there, and I do believe that it'll be up to everybody to decide like what's in their comfort zone, whether it's air travel, traveling by car. Yeah, so kind of wait and see approach.
I've been hoping to see wider vaccination, you know, in North America and around the world because, like many of us, I have put off big travel plans that I had at the start of the pandemic. But with the way things are going right now, I don't know when I'll feel safe going back there.
The restrictions are a little too loose for me to go right now, but once they kind of get a little bit more in place, maybe some more vaccination rates going up, then maybe I'd be more comfortable going.
I have no idea. It will be probably a couple of years at least.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Probably 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
If things go well for them down there. If they don't, maybe never again. I don't know.
I'm not going to travel for a while again because what they're trying to do right now is to make sure you have a COVID passport in order to get on a train, a bus, or a plane. I don't feel comfortable getting vaccinated at this moment because I'm 63 years old, never taken the flu shot, never get sick. And what it looks like this virus is going to do is you're going to be having a flu shot or a virus shot every year. It's less than 2 years, and we've got 3 shots already and some going on 4. Something doesn't add up, in my opinion.
I have 2 sisters that have winter homes there, and we're planning a trip in, hopefully by February, maybe sooner, to spend some time with them, and I think I'd feel comfortable by then.
I think I'm comfortable now. I think it depends what I'm doing. For me, I would go to the U.S. to do a lot of like hiking and stuff. I live in southern Quebec near the border, so for me it's like going to Vermont to hike and ski. So I'd feel comfortable doing that. Going to like a crowded casino or a crowded mall, I don't know about that so much yet.
We're not big fans of traveling. We'd rather go to Europe. So we're not comfortable yet. Maybe in a year.
I traveled last year and I felt comfortable. So nothing happened there that didn't happen here anyway. So we take care of ourselves, wash our hands, behave. Everything went well. I was there for 4.5 months and didn't see anyone that had COVID there either.
That depends on the amount of the coronavirus that's happening at the U.S., which should be judged very carefully. And if I was the Prime Minister, I'd be asking them questions every single day. What is your total? I need to keep an eye on that so I know that my Canadian company, my Canadian people here in Canada will be protected at first priority.
You know, I just don't see a reason to go to the United States anymore. It might not be popular, but just, you know, I want to be safe. And I don't feel safe whenever I travel over the border. So.
I don't believe. I think shouldn't be. We are taking care very well of us. Only now they are open the border with US, so we don't know how that will be. But actually, I don't think.
When was the position of Deputy Prime Minister created in Canada? 1888, 1933, 1977. 1888, 1933, 1977.
I'll say 1933.
77.
I believe it was probably 1933, but I don't have extensive knowledge on this issue.
1933? BC 53.
I'm going to say later because
nobody
had deputies
of
anything.
Say Trudeau, yeah, 1977.
You were both correct. You may high-five each other. Very good. The position of Deputy Prime Minister was created by Pierre Trudeau in 1977 when he appointed Alan J. McEachen, one of his cabinet ministers, as Canada's first. The job mostly requires filling in for the Prime Minister in Parliament and during cabinet meetings. The title has no standing in the law and does not include any official duties. Since its creation, a total of 10 people have occupied the position. But not all prime ministers have followed this practice. Since 1977, only Joe Clark and Stephen Harper have never appointed a deputy prime minister during their time in office. Is Canada a divided nation? Well, some factors may suggest it is. The relationship between the federal government and Western Canada continues to be strained. Equalization, disputes over pipelines, Indigenous reconciliation, and even COVID-19 has highlighted interprovincial tensions in this country that have been going on for decades. But Canadians are also known to stick together when the going gets tough. So we sent our cameras out across the country to find out how we could find a more unified front in this country. Our question: what would make Canada a more united country?
It's hard to answer this question because I'm a French speaker. I'm a French Canadian from Quebec. Sometimes I'm part of Canada, but I feel like because we have a special culture, we have our own culture, like the Maritimes, and so to unify all these this culture together, but we have to work on it because a nice country is a country where you can learn from the others. Like, I love to eat from everywhere. I like to travel everywhere in the world. So when I meet people from somewhere else, I like to learn from foreign. And I would like that all the Canadians would accept and learn from the other cultures so we can make one, just big one, to get all together.
That's a very good question. I think we have to have something to kind of believe in together, to fight for, right? So maybe it'll be climate change, maybe it'll be, you know, taking care of the residential school issue, something that actually unites us as a people.
Once we sort of get to know, get to realize that we're all in the same boat together, we have to take care of our Indigenous community. It is super, super important. And we have to have just a sense of community. It can't be bipartisan. It can't be, you know, this party versus that party. We really have to see ourselves as that wonderful country we really are. So.
Well, you know, so the West and the East and the Center aren't all thinking differently, you know, we need to just sort of squeeze a little together.
Reconciliation, of course. I think it's hard to be united when there's a history of genocide and violence against an entire population. So, of course, you can't be united until that's addressed, and not just addressed with words, addressed with actions.
Another thing is that I think that the government needs to be realistic in the way that they're dealing with Canadians. We definitely need to go to an standing in Canada, but it can't be done overnight. And the transition to get away from fossil fuels, it was going to take 10 to 12 years to even break ice on it. And if you happen to think that's ridiculous, try and live with the clothes without the clothes you're wearing on your back, because they're all made of petroleum.
A more united Canada, more traveling within Canada. You know, if you travel from the West and stay in Quebec for a while, you'd end up with a different picture than if you never do.
Yeah, it would be good for Westerners to travel to Quebec and spend some time there. They don't have a good feeling about Quebec because they don't know it. And similarly for Quebec people who travel west. We once did immersion French in Chicoutimi, and the people we stayed with, it was a French family. We invited them to visit us in Saskatoon, and they said, well, we'd like to, but we're going to drive out. We don't know any English. How would we make out on the trip? So they never came.
Having come to Canada close on to 45 years ago, I've seen a lot of change, but I'd still like to see more inclusiveness and change. It's better than other places, but it certainly isn't at the best place.
Well, I think our Prime Minister is instrumental, and that depends on who we have as Prime Minister. At the moment, I think the West is being excluded a lot. I don't like to see that. We do need more unification, and Quebec has had a lot of attention, and perhaps it's time to shift it just a slight bit.
I think they should work towards everyone being fully vaccinated, respecting those that choose not to, and feel proud of ourselves that we've gotten through this pandemic, and just try to celebrate as a whole.
The virus has definitely started to divide the population. It's the same thing with the rich and the poor, and people that can afford things and people that can't afford things. Now the virus has become another division between people, vaccinated or unvaccinated. So.
I think just learning about each other more. There is a lot of, I feel, separation between communities, and a lot of stuff isn't being taught in schools, which causes that distinct separation. So I think if you teach people, like students when they're young, and they'll grow up understanding kind of each other more.
Regarding the pandemic, I think that it would be nice if we were more united from a federal standpoint as far as pandemic protocols. And why should one province put in like a scannable COVID app and not share it? I just find that kind of crazy that we wouldn't be sharing the technology from province to province, and I think that would unify us with our approach.
More understanding would make Canada a more united country as a whole. I think there's a lot of divide for many different reasons right now, and I think, kindness and understanding would go a long way with us as a whole and bringing society, one step closer to being together. So
reconciliation right now, no question. Where I come from, we're working really hard at trying to reconcile with the local Algonquin community, the Anishinaabe people, and it's so far from actually being in fruition. So that's the big thing right now for me.
I know we don't have just the two political parties. We have all of these options, but unfortunately things are getting more and more divided instead of coming together, and it's really unfortunate that there isn't an answer for that question.
I think leadership that understands, where everybody's at across the country. It's a big country with different regions and people with different situations in each region. So leadership that understands that is able to come up with solutions that appreciates where people are coming from and is able to and willing to not waffle but take my mask came off, take the appropriate stance when required. So.
I don't know. There's so much right now, and I think there's just so much division in people, and just maybe if everyone just got off social media. I don't know. But it just seems like everyone's just upset at everyone, and either we need a common enemy or we just need to get over it. I don't know. That's a tough one.
As you're likely aware, Canadians in most parts of the country recently adjusted their clocks back 1 hour. Twice a year, in March and November, Canadians adjust their clocks to fall in line with daylight savings. But the time change doesn't sit well with some people. Primarily Yukon Territory, most of Saskatchewan, and some parts of BC stay on the same time all year round. The province of Alberta recently voted to continue to turn their clocks back when the time comes. So, are you in favor of keeping this, or would you like to kick it to the curb? Our question.
Should daylight savings time be eliminated?
Oh, I just think it doesn't matter. I think it's the most stupid, archaic issue. I mean, maybe stupid isn't the word I mean, but daylight savings is a political issue. If you look at the history of the implementation of it, it has been to prioritize certain communities and certain classes of community. I feel like if we were to experiment with getting rid of it, we might see some really great benefits for underrepresented, historically marginalized communities who are affected by those things more.
Well, I get confused every year. I think it should be the same, whatever it is. Just make it the same, And so that when I wake up in the morning, it's light, not dark.
I'm a new retired girl, so now I'm a free woman, so I don't mind because I can sleep and there's no alarm clock for me anymore. But when I was coming back from work, I appreciated that I could have 1 more hour of light when I was coming back from work. So this was appreciated. But in the morning, oh my God, it was so hard to get up. But I think that it's for the health, mental health, that we could have more light during a day. So this is, for me, this is the biggest reason why we should keep it.
Oh, that almost happened in Alberta, didn't it? Right? They just missed it. If you eliminated it nationwide, from what I've read, it actually would be a lot safer to not have daylight savings time. You'd have less car accidents on the 2 days where you switch before and backwards. I don't personally like it, but that's my opinion. It'd have to be a vote of the people in general. If everybody doesn't want it, then we get rid of it, sure.
Yes, please get rid of that. We don't need it anymore. Really don't need it anymore. It served well when it was a time for it, but it's no longer the time for it, so stop it.
So yeah, I'm so in the middle with that because I enjoy the extra hour at that time of year, and then I also don't enjoy losing an hour. But I think that so long as daylight saving time is international, global I should say, then I don't think it should be abolished because every country should be on the same page with that.
I kind of like it getting a little bit dark in the winter because then by the end of Christmas, beginning of January, your days start to get a little bit longer. It's just part of the seasons. And you get to see the sparkling lights and, twinkling off the snow. There's a lot of beauty in the different seasons, and why do we have to keep messing up?
So should we get rid of it? I think we need to look at it from a point of view of economics. We also need to look at it from a realistic point of view, not wishful thinking. Because you get up in the morning and you're a little sleepy because you missed an hour of sleep, there's no reason to discard something. But if there is a reason, then let's change and do it.
I don't think so. I think it's good this way because it helps our body regulate. We're just so used to it. And I think it's better economically as well. So I think it's...
It should be eliminated because I don't think it saves time, or I don't think it changes anything. It makes people miserable in the morning because they're an hour late.
Well, it gives us something different to look at or anticipate, I guess. I don't think it changes much in our day-to-day life, but I like to keep it.
I think it should. I think that we have, our own rhythm, and when it changes, 2 times the year at particular times, I don't think it's necessary. I think we, as humans, have our natural rhythm.
I honestly kind of like daylight savings going back and forth because I like being able to walk to work in the morning and it's not pitch black out. And, if we don't switch back and forth, I get it. So, and then there's something about when you're out, I think it's the prairies or up north, if they don't switch, their sunrise is at 10:30 in the morning, and nobody wants that. So I can see keeping it, and I can see getting rid of it too. So
yeah, I think so, because it causes such stress on the body as you switch from one time to the other. I think we follow Saskatchewan's lead and stick with the same system all year round.
That's a good question. I feel like it should be, but I don't think so, actually. No, I do like the fall back, and I like the dark nights, and then the summertime I like the spring ahead. So it works. I'm used to it personally. It's been like that for years and years and years and years, so I think they should just leave it alone.
I think so. Just keep it the same all year. Just messes people up. So yeah, it should be eliminated.
I think getting rid of daylight savings time makes sense from an energy efficiency point of view here in the climate that we live in, and also just from a health point of view. That switch that happens every year really can screw up people's circadian rhythms. We have people getting into more car accidents on that day of the year when the switch happens, I think. So I think it would be great.
It just doesn't matter to me as long as I remember the day that they switch back and forth. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a faux argument. I think we got bigger fish to fry in this society than worrying about that stuff. But
I quite like having the time change. I think it kind of is something to either look forward to or dread, but I think it keeps things interesting. So I think it should stay the same personally, but you never know. I might not be against it if they did change, but for now I like it the way it is.
Thanks for watching this episode of Outburst on CPAC. If you have any comments about this show or any other show, you can find us on social media. You can also find us on our website at www.cpac.ca. I'm Glenn McGuinness, and on behalf of my colleagues at the Cable Public Affairs Channel, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.